Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name is John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next hour or so delivering some tips, hints, suggestions as to how to plan for the upcoming year, the different OEP and set periods that come as part of the regular time of the year now that AEP is winding down. And we wanted to make certain that you had some ideas to augment your own business practices and move forward with the integration of different programs that can help you be successful throughout the year. Today's presentation is being recorded and will be available on our website at premiersmi.com and on our YouTube channel as well. So a bit of level set about Premier for those of you who may not be familiar with us. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler working with independent insurance agents and agencies such as yourself. And we do so through contracts that are at the highest possible commission levels with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. We do so through a full portfolio of products aimed at the Medicare population and the folks that are involved with that population as well. The Medicare programs, well, the Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, and standalone Part D plans are available through Premier Marketing, as are a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance, pre-need plans. The long and short-term care programs, along with disability income plans, are available, as are those ancillary benefits that fill the gaps that base coverages normally do not cover or cover completely enough. And those include the dental, vision, hearing programs, the critical illness cancer plans, hospital indemnity plans, accident plans, and even telehealth programs. So when you look at the Medicare Advantage carriers that are part of our portfolio, you have the national carriers there for you, along with many of the strong regionals that can make a difference for you in your market. And that same philosophy carries over into the standalone prescription drug programs, or those PDP programs, where generally they're part of the same Medicare Advantage contract, but those are available for you through our organization as well. When you speak to Medicare supplement plans, we have a broad and robust portfolio for you there as well, along with marketing programs that can help you be successful in that space. We feel it's important that you have offerings available for folks across the spectrum of the Medicare population, and no one program is the right answer for everyone. So we want to make certain that we take care of you and your clients across the board. And that includes having the national leaders in each of these categories in the ancillary world. So you have that opportunity to make certain that you add to coverages, take care of gaps in coverages, and of course, create additional revenue streams besides satisfying that need and closing the doors for other folks that may be using these programs to access households as well. When we look at that Medicare market, of course, you see the aging of the baby boomers, the silver tsunami, one every 10 seconds, 10,000 plus a day. But if you look at the Medicare market based just on age, it's a little skewed because we are finding that many people are continuing to act past the age of 65 and may not be accessing the full benefits that they have with Medicare for one reason or another. But that little bit of a subtraction from that number is more than made up for by the folks that are accessing Medicare benefits while under the age of 65 because of disability. 15% of the population on Medicare falls in that category. And the Medicare population as a whole, of course, has some common characteristics, including some challenges with their health. 2/3 of them have 3+ chronic conditions, and many of them have challenges with their budgeting and income as well. The income and the savings are in an area where they could not withstand a massive hit to that monetary base based on what they have stashed. So we want to make certain we cover them regardless of what their choices are, because Medicare is a land of choices, as a matter of fact. Folks can actually turn down their Part B coverage should they choose to do so. Most don't, thankfully. Some will self insure for the deductibles and co-insurance people have with original Medicare, pick up a Part D program to help with the prescription assistance or the prescription cost, I should say. And some of them will also take out that standardized, modernized Medicare supplement to handle that gaps in the coverage, hence the Medigap name. And more people are looking at the Part C programs, the bundling of benefits under private insurance carriers to take care of a broad spectrum of needs and add additional benefits. And what we see as people are entering in Medicare, in the past, it's been pretty even, the enrollment between Med Sups and Med Advantage. And then we have, of course, the Medicare only population, which could include dual beneficiaries, people with both Medicare and Medicaid, people with retiree benefits, folks accessing care through the VA, or the folks that are self insuring. But the pandemic has changed a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And we saw a little bit of a swing toward the Medicare Advantage plans over the last year and a half with the choices that people were making. Will it stay that way? We don't know. We don't know what the future is going to bring, but we need to be prepared for these folks that need our help, regardless of what their base coverages are, and use that as part of our planning for the future. And part of that planning for the future is being able to make certain that we speak their language. So the commonly used acronyms, well, there is a guide available through the Medicare Learning Network, which is a CMS website that gives us those definitions. For those of you that are looking for that particular link, email us and we'll make certain that we get you that link, or boy, Google, it'll help. But we can make certain that you have access to this as well. Because as we go through these standard election periods, we realize that we're about a week away at present from the end of the AEP, and we have the challenges then of the special enrollment period, the non-renewal program through the end of the year, and then other SEPs that may come into play for the rest of 2021. We then enter into the OEP period, which is there for us, but we can't market to it. But we can market to all the different election periods that are out there. And let's look at the Medicare population statistics, that demographic from earlier. You got the majority of people on Medicare that will qualify for a special election period. Is it in their best interest to always change? No, not always. But we have a gambit of special election periods that are there. And depending upon how you direct your insurance agency, your practice in this area, there are some of these that you can pinpoint in on and make them part of your means for or reasoning for part of your marketing strategy. Because hey, there's always those special election periods that come up. 2021, we had a whole bunch of them about weather. We have a number of them that'll probably come in the future. So that's there for us. And it's important that we stay persistent with our activities because, as the Kaiser Family Foundation says, in the past, a large percentage of the Medicare beneficiaries don't compare their Medicare plans each and every year as they should. Part of that is they don't, we are all comfortable with our past choice in many cases. They don't believe there is a real gain for changing coverages. And we can demonstrate with some of the tools that we have available to us at no cost for our contracted agents how that is not the case, particularly if they are dealing with a number of medications or with an area of the country that is suddenly all over competitive with the different carriers, and that competition drives up benefits, drives down out-of-pocket cost. And it's that way across the board, regardless of the makeup of the beneficiaries, their education level, how old they are, the race, ethnicity, the income level, the health status, where they are. Are they rural or urban? And are they dualies? Are they Medicare, Medicaid eligible? Those dual beneficiaries. Regardless, they may not be examining their benefits year over year. If you were a betting person, you'd probably say, I'm going to put my money on they're not. And you'd be pretty close to accurate the vast majority of the time. And it's important for us to take into mind that also applies to the folks that have med sups and they have standalone Part D programs. And if we work that area more than we do concentrating on perhaps the median or lower income folks that are very much a target market for some of the Medicare Advantage plans, that gives us an opportunity to sell more med sup as well. So we have a number of motivations that are out there to make certain that a public that's not using tools that are out there provided by the government have the opportunity to do so through us and through the tools that we offer and the outreach that we have. Because face it, in October, everybody received, that's on Medicare, the Medicare and You book for the current year, either snail mail, so we say with the United States Postal Service, or electronically should they have opted into it. But they're not using it. They're not reading it. You know, that book is a good cure for insomnia in certain circumstances, and they're not even using the apps that are available. Some of them for a good reason. They may not have a smartphone. They may not be comfortable with the internet. So there are different things that we can do to help them realize that they need to examine their coverages on an ongoing basis. And because of the number of SEPs that are out there, we can use programs like this short recording from CMS to basically give us a third-party endorsement of the fact that, hey, you need to understand your choices, and you can do so throughout the year. We also need to be aware of the fact that because of the current situation, even if we're not secluded as we were for nearly a year, quarantined in a matter of speaking, there are a number of folks that don't want to see us face to face. And there are some folks that will see us face to face and then want follow up virtually. We need to make certain that we have the tools to do so. We're working with carriers that help support that effort as well. And we put that as part of our marketing program, because the base programs that we'll discuss today, they can be carried out in person or virtually as well. We've had nearly 2 years now, a year and a half plus, where the Medicare population's been trained to do some things electronically, doctor's visits, specialist visits, some preliminary work for hospitals and dentists, even faith-based activities are done online. And so with some of the things that are coming on, these folks are much more comfortable than they've been in the past. And that gives us an opportunity to also maximize our greatest asset, and that's our time. So when we look at what is OEP, what are the special enrollment periods, that is an important part of the premise, but some of the same activities that we had done in preparation for and during AEP, well, there's some of the same things we need to do throughout the rest of the year. And the first thing is set our goals and put them in writing, because it's the old piece of where do you want to be, what fires you up in order to keep you treading the path that you are on, or whatever path that may take you, and do it in different time periods. We're looking at OEP, SEP, we're looking at about 9 months of the year, not 6 months. And then where are we the next year, 3 years, 5 years? Part of that may be predicated by our gains realized or shortfalls of, or surpassing where our goals were. And that gives us an opportunity to kind of tweak things in the future according to those timelines. And we need to be realistic in those goals and understand how much money you need to make your bills and build for the future. And are you coming into these different programs with realistic expectations as to what they can do for you when it comes to commissions? The expectations, and then how much you would like to make. So that plan is really important for us to detail and move forward with, because as C.L. Lewis said in Alice in Wonderland, and when Alice fell in the hole and she's talking to the Cheshire Cat, if you don't know where you're headed, it doesn't matter what direction you take. And with us planning on financial security for ourselves, our family, and taking care of the people that are our bread and butter, our client base, it's important that we realize where we are going. And that goal, of course, primarily is to get in front of buyers for one product or another. They can be people that are new to your agency, new to you, or they may well be people that are part of your current book of business. So let's get in front of them one way or another. And in doing so, we need to analyze what programs we want to market. It's interesting that in the Medicare space, many people disregard the ancillary programs and may choose one side or the other when it comes to the base medical. So they're Med-Sup agents or they're Medicare Advantage agents. And then there are folks that blend. So making certain that we realize that some of the programs may change year over year. So if we're invested in the Medicare Advantage market, we need to be aware of what's going on in that world, in that space with the benefits that can and do change every year. Or are we also concentrating on Medicare Supplements because that gives us different leeway on how we market as well? Two different pieces of oversight. It's our decision on how we work forward with the portfolio that we have or that we need to get. And because the different types of base medical are governed by somewhat different organizations to a degree, we need to make certain that we're following the regulations for whatever path we take. Because, hey, if we're going to sit around and wait for the phone to ring, well, as Pepe Le Pew says, you'll never get kissed, even if it is a cat and another species. We need to make certain that we're out presenting ourselves to the public. And part of how we can plan then is work the numbers kind of backward. I'm using some numbers here that are very, very conservative in nature when it comes to the commissions that are possible with most Medicare programs. So if we're looking and basing things off a low number, we know that if we hit our goals on our sales, because the commissions are suppressed in a manner of speaking, we're going to surpass our income goals as well. So if we're looking for a six-figure annual income, first-year commissions, we need to make a certain number of sales a year, breaking it down into weeks and breaking it down into days. So utilizing that 1052 number that I'm demonstrating here, we're also going to need a specific number of leads in order to make those numbers. So if we're looking at direct mail as a source, 2% mailer return used to be kind of the standard, a little lower nowadays, but there are other ways that we can actually access people to speak with beyond that. And that includes working with different providers, working with centers of influence in the community, becoming better about mining the folks we have in our book of business and those that we don't, the ones we speak to, for referrals. And where else can the leads come from? And we have a number of different sources that can happen, how that can happen. So are you willing to use some of these different strategies in order to pick up the number of folks that you need to talk to in order to make your goals? And we look at that, and it's a whole bunch of centers of influence, as I mentioned. You can cold call for certain types of products. Can't for MA and PDP, but you sure can for Med-Sup and the ancillary products. Direct mail, well, that's the whole expression of I'm not dead yet, doing it consistently. And if you're working a target area, you're establishing your name in that community. Remember that rule of 7? Allstate really beat that drum, where a lot of times folks need to see your name 7 times before they respond. And there are also the folks that are in your current pool that are warmer than that. So folks that you can approach for their business and for referrals as well. There are also a ton of educational events that are available for you to stage. And we have the presentations for you to use on that and work that into the provider relations that we have. This speaks only of physician relationships, but we know that the carriers in the MA world actually have campaigns targeting dentists. There's a lot of talk about having relationships with DME companies, durable medical equipment companies, or home health care agencies, hospitals, a number of centers of influence in the community that can make a big difference for you in setting that up. So as we look at our numbers, it's also important for us to realize, boy, I needed to kind of stretch that out a little bit, didn't I? But if you're selling different products, if you're working a portfolio approach, you can plan around the sales that are outside of your key product. And that can influence both the commissions that are part of it and the numbers that you need to take into account when it comes to making your sales goals. One thing that's not up here that is a big concern for many people on Medicare and the folks that are right below it aging in are long-term care, short-term care products. Higher commission, kind of hunting white elephants sometimes, it seems like, but that will really change your numbers as to how this is necessary for you to work. So as we go through that, it will then give us an opportunity to break our month down into the weeks and how many sales are necessary to do it. That will be different according to the portfolio that you have available in order to make those monetary goals. So let's look at some of the activities that are out there that can make a difference. First off, how ingrained are you in the industry? How comfortable are you with knowledge on the different products? One of the things that we find, obviously, is the more that people practice one sort of a presentation or another, you get better at it. Your closing ratio goes up. And if we're looking at those numbers of sales that are necessary based on a lower closing ratio, well, as we get better at it, we need fewer appointments to make those numbers of sales, and that can make a difference for you down the road. Keeping in mind, if you keep those numbers constant and your closing ratios go up, obviously you're going to surpass those goals, and that might work better for you anyway. Keep in practice with the riding the bicycle to get in front of folks and close more of them to drive up your numbers as well. It's important for us also to track what we're doing, what types of support software or different types of systems that are necessary for you, even if it's an Excel system. What do you need to do to track your activity, work your week over week, manage your calendar, and plan for the success that you wish to have? Plotting out on, the old blue books that we used to use, the appointment books. Some people still want to use them, and some people use them in conjunction with electronic pieces as well. But it gives you a way then, if you look at it in this period or in this type of scenario, where you can plug in different activities that you plan for on an ongoing basis. 11 or 1. And a lot of us will use a choice type of presentation like that to get an appointment. So filling the different times, and part of that is predicated on, do you want to work all the weekends? Do you want to work just a couple of months or a couple of weekends per month? How many appointments can you put in through a day? Because you have service work, you have the marketing activity as well. Those selling appointments, how many can you plug in? And are you going to work some on the evenings? Are you a morning person, afternoon? How are you going to schedule your day? That's where you have that flexibility in setting your appointments. And if you plug them in on a template like this, they're like, hey, I still have the 2 o'clock on a Tuesday appointment available. Will that work for you? Or is a 9 o'clock on a Thursday better for you? So a close for appointment setting. It's also important that we hold ourselves accountable. Many folks that are in the insurance industry have a very good way of doing that, and that's holding themselves accountable. But are you in an organization where someone has a bit of oversight with you? You have a business partner? Is that business partner just your business partner, or is it a significant other in your household? This gives you then the support you need to keep after it. Zig Ziglar used to say, if we close enough doors behind us that are labeled no, we're going to get to a yes. And that's the hardest part of our business. And many times where someone will hang up on you, they slam the door in your face, whatever it happens to be. But are we prepared to do what we need to do and hold ourselves accountable to that plan that we have set? So once again, going back to the activities, what do you need to do to plug in your calendar each and every week? Because if you push one segment or another off, well, then your next week's skewed a little bit. And some of these things that we're doing to get in front of people, well, it'll get you really good results next week, and then you have the peaks and valleys as you move through your month. Being prepared for these different programs and making certain that you have the knowledge or at least access to a source of truth for these different activities. Sometimes it's dependent upon the training. If you've done Medicare Advantage through AEP or throughout the year prior, you probably have your certifications done anyway, but you may have found different carriers throughout this hectic marketing time that you didn't have as a contract. So additional certifications may be necessary. There are carrier retail trainings that can be helpful for you. If you're in a Walmart, a Kroger, whatever it happens to be, Walgreens, doesn't matter. Taking that same sort of mindset gives you the opportunity to approach other centers of influence in the community and utilize that to fortify sales. You have a ton of information available from us on marketing through grassroots and the LIS MSP training. Acronyms, John: low income subsidy, Medicare savings plans, and then, of course, being comfortable with the software programs that enable you to do so much of your work electronically. Great time saver once you get used to it, and is something that you can share with the public. Many of the folks are aware of the Medicare.gov site, even if they don't use it, according to the statistics we've seen earlier. Being familiar with it, though, gives you that opportunity to look at what's your competition in an area. Our systems can help you with that as well, that are made available to you, but many folks will refer to this, and being comfortable with what's going on is really important. And utilizing that base activity that some of us get away from time to time, and that is working referrals. If it's a person that's part of your book, or it's someone who's bought from you, or someone who didn't, their situation could be different from some of the people they know, and that can make a huge difference for you in getting additional people in your pipeline. Those basic certifications with AHIP, a bunch of the carriers will reimburse you if you've done so much business with them. There may be marketing hierarchies, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that can help you with that as well. That's important for us to have that base done, because many of the carriers out there in the MA and PDP world, it's a requirement. We also need to make certain that we have a full grasp of what all the carriers require as part of their certifications. It's on our website. It can help you there, as is some of the additional Medicare trainings that are available to you. CMS Medicare Learning Network has some really good material on there for you. Sometimes it's a little bit of a toasty delivery, a little dry to swallow, but they have some great presentations on there, and that's where we get some of ours for webinar or seminar selling. So it's a way of growing your knowledge in more than one fashion. Once again, those acronyms can be a big difference for you in knowing what you're talking about in a manner of speaking. What does MOUSE mean? MOUSE mean? That means you're on a Disney Channel, I guess. There's also different things that are available for you from CMS as support material. This website, you can go in and actually order 50 calendars a month, and they're provided for you free. There are other presentations and other material in here that can be really, really helpful for you. So I strongly advise that you visit this site. We've got a number of different components that we use this for, but you going in and seeing what is there and what would apply to your practice can make a huge difference. And then, of course, the different carriers are really, really getting better about supporting things for you. There are companies that will logo their information. There are some that have them available in a generic fashion. And while we're picturing United Healthcare here, of course, Humana, Aetna, Cigna, boy, go through the list of them. Many Anthem, they have the different toolkits like this that can be very, very helpful for you. Taking that information and then working with the manager with that company that's assigned to your area and to you can make a huge difference in how you're able to approach people on the street. Those benefits, as I mentioned too, they're all available on our website. If you are familiar with Medicare Center, which we'll discuss in just a little bit, a great way to lay it out side by side as well. Gee, that came up just on cue. This is a program that's available to contracted agents with our organization and our Integrity Platform partners that has a all-in-one universal login from multiple devices that give you access to 3 quoting tools, other resources as well. But you have the Medicare app, Connecture, you have Medicare Link, Sunfire, and CSG as part of this program, all through that singular logon. And it also has that component that keeps you compliant, the ability to send out those necessary scopes of appointment to keep you compliant, and multiple ways of doing so. It also has a CRM in there for you to use, should you choose to do so, and access to other resources, sales techniques, scripts, other things that are part of that program. Once again, it's available without cost to contracted agents. Boy, you can tell I'm an old MA person where I have a hard time with that word free, right? Well, that's what it costs you. Text to enroll programs are in there. You have some different pieces that are available, ways of reaching out to the population and delivering information to them in the manner that they choose, and then a way of collecting it in a manner that's most convenient for everyone involved. And that can help a great deal. That CSG component that I mentioned, it also gives you a way of cross-selling with some of the information that's in that program. And we have a demonstration of that as well for you. It does also give you some very interesting information on the different specifics of the carriers that are out there. It'll tell you who's enrolled with whom to a degree, but you also have then in the CSG tool heat maps to help you in a similar fashion with Medicare Supplements. A great way of charting your target audience as well. Because it's important to note we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. We realize not one size fits all. It doesn't. And we need to be prepared to pivot because there may be a organization that says, hey, we'd love to have you come address our group. We have a senior group that meets once a month. We'd like you to be our speaker. Or as you approach them with multiple topics, what you have to offer. And then, of course, there are folks that say, hey, we do things virtually. So we need to be prepared to pivot and do it and incorporate in multiple programs to get in front of the folks that we need to do. So once again, working through some of the different support programs that are out there, cold calls. You can do it for some plans, some not. But we are finding some folks being a bit ingenious in their approach, and they're using dental programs to build their T65 funnel. What are you talking about, John? Well, folks that have a dental program at 64 aren't going to see the price increase that they have in most of these programs at 65. So it's that nudge for them to buy something now that's a need throughout their future. They do so through you. They're then your client. You stay in touch with them. You have the ability to contact them year round. And then, of course, all those wonderful centers of influence in the community that we've discussed. But these folks, we're finding that they'll take assistance live or Memorex, as they used to say on an old commercial, where you have the opportunity, once again, to use that ability to deliver the information in person or virtually. Carriers have different programs that can help you as well. You do business with an organization in the MA and PDP world, they're going to support you. So will Medicare supplement plans that you write with. Social media is all the rage now. We have different programs that can help you there through internet leads as well. The referral programs that I keep talking about are there for you, as is direct mail. So if you are one of those individuals that are comfortable on the phone, or you're not, and you use it to stay sharp, you can do that for a multitude of programs. MedSups, it happens all the time. Once again, as I mentioned, some of the ancillary programs that are out there, the dental programs, or someone during the OEP period who is looking for a way to cover that hospital copayment on an MA plan. So hospital indemnity programs are a great approach, particularly through this first quarter. And you can come up with a list of folks to visit with according to your specific demographics, either through our organization or on your own. There's a ton of list companies out there, but we can help you with that, with low cost contact list, butted up against do not call, and it can be available at a low cost, or depending upon your contracting situation with us, maybe no cost at all. We need to keep in mind, though, that these lists that we purchase, no matter where we come up with them, they're not going to be perfect all across the board, because people move, die, everything without our permission. And many of them are contacted by multiple folks because their records are out there and they're going to chat with them. And we got to keep in mind, not everybody have programs they need that access them through cold calling. We talked about the community-based programs as centers of influence. Retail marketing, hey, there are folks going to be in pharmacies year-round. It may not be with the same frequency as in the AEP, but our friends over with the Walmart program also tied in Kroger. Kroger's working it year-round. Working marketing with our providers. Keep in mind, that goes beyond doctors, primary care, and specialists into some of the other providers of our care. But this is a year-round activity. They really need our help during AEP, but they also need our help throughout the year, because they're seeing folks age in. They're seeing folks move in. And if they have someone reliable and knowledgeable, they're going to send them to that person. You can be that person. Remember, provider partners aren't just docs, can be dentists, home health care, caregivers, a number of different centers out there that can be a great source of folks to contact throughout the year. If you're looking at churches, hey, you can find them through Church Angel for the Christian churches. You can find them similarly for the Muslim population, the Jewish population, Hindi. However you want to approach it, there are means that you can do that through the internet to find the folks that you need to talk to. And then, of course, I mentioned the carrier-generated leads. Sometimes those are what I used to call Lazarus leads when I worked for a carrier. You're going to resurrect them. Someone's tried to get a hold of them, couldn't do it, or they didn't have any luck, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes they're fresh as new grown lettuce, but these are folks that are available to us because of relationships that we have with the different carriers and the symbiotic relationship that we've created in our time in selling. Social media, well, there are a ton of companies out there that are probably approaching you as they do us as well with the validity of their internet leads. We have different programs out there that can help you specifically for that. And then, of course, utilizing that all-important referral request. And that can be as part of your normal correspondence with your book of business. Keep that in mind. It can be people that you're talking to now, or folks that aren't part of your book of business, but you've been in contact with them in the past, they didn't buy from you. They can still give you a referral. Direct mail, our program works where we have discounts for direct mail based on production. But this can be then letters that can hit a particular topic throughout a time of year. Remember that rule of 7, all state bangs their chest on? That type of staying in front of people where you can repeat the same letter or vary it to see what the hot button may be can make a huge difference for you. And it gives you then that opportunity to cross sell, which is so important for us because having that as part of our mindset diminishes the chances of us walking out of the house without a sale, without compensation. And cross-selling then drives up your persistency, the stickiness of your business. It also gives you more people to chat with. And studies have shown the more products you have in the house, the less likely you are going to have of losing that individual as your client. Some of the things we also do here at Premier, of course, is help you keep track of all of your contracting information through a profile on Insurance Pay, where you can then add other carriers electronically and give you an opportunity to purchase discounted errors and admissions coverage. It says here for qualified agents. What's that mean? That means you got a contract with us. But this is a program you own. So it's not like being added to a a blanket policy for one program or another, and then you have to worry about the requirement that you have with other carriers. This can take care of that for you, very reasonably priced. And we have a similar relationship with WebCE to make certain that we keep your license in play as well. You have also an opportunity through a modified guarantee issue program to add to your own benefit structure as well by purchasing a non-cancelable DI policy where you're paid a commission on it on yourself. A great way of protecting your moneymaker. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded, past presentations have been recorded as well. As I mentioned earlier, they're posted on our website at premiersmi.com and on our YouTube channel as well. So a great way for you to browse through, your spare time, the different recordings that are out there for you. I cannot oversell Medicare Center enough because simply it's a great way for you to maximize your most valuable resource, time, and do so compliantly. So as we described before, a number of great features that are part of it. And on our website, it actually speaks to how you use it as well. At electronic tools, once again, I want to repeat how the CSG tool actually has a piece in there on how to cross-sell and how to fill in the blanks. Great way of doing it. Got a recording on that for you too. Back to cross-selling. More products you have in the house, the greater your retention. We also want to make certain that you realize the full range of incentives available to you because compensation on Medicare Advantage and prescription drug programs, the max are set by the government. Most carriers go straight to that max. You aren't seeing these incentive programs so much there, but you do have these for Medicare Supplements and Ancillary programs. Qualifying for those extra bucks can really make a difference in your income. It can help you qualify for carrier trips and incentive programs that we offer as well. So, rolling through those lists again, you've got a multitude of ways of getting in front of folks, and that includes, as I mentioned, that mail program that drives down the cost of that mail so you can do it consistently and do it through vetted partners that are sending out letters that are compliant for you, looking still to maximize the return and have it available to you near immediately through the CRM systems they make available to you without cost. We also have a way for you to access direct mail leads that have come back so you don't have all the expense up front You can't necessarily direct the same sort of outflow that you have if you control the campaign, but these are available to you through our partnership with YIG, your insurance group, and be able to deliver upon people that want information that have not been contacted before. They're fresh. That internet lead program that I talked to you about, well, they're Facebook leads for both final expense and Medicare. And we have a T65 Locator program that is great help for you in the solicitation of Medicare supplements. Because, hey, you can door knock for MedSup. You sure can't do that for MA or PDP, but this is made available to you and really, really help you identify who in your target market is turning 65 that may be of need in your service. Once again, that referral program, engaging all the people you talk to, the ones you sell and the ones you don't, can make a monumental difference in the number of people that you can speak to. So we go through all this because we want your business. We want to talk to you about the opportunities we can share. And it's important that regardless of where we are on the calendar, it's something that you can integrate in at least portions of it on an ongoing basis to that personal marketing plan that you've put in play. And you're doing so quickly with the programs that are out there to make a big difference for you now. So all that said and done, you can reach us at our toll-free number at 1-800-365-8208 or visit us on our website, and we can get information to you about these possibilities. You have people within our organization that will speak to you one-on-one about what you're doing, what you hope to do, and how we can reach that objective together. So what we have, until we have the opportunity to speak again, I want to wish you good selling, but before doing so, too late for that, I want to thank you for the business that you've delivered to the population you serve in conjunction with our organization. For those of you that are considering doing that in the future, I thank you for that as well. And I thank you for your time, your most valuable asset that you have. You spent a time period with us here today to listen to this and what we're going to do moving forward. All that said and done, once again, until we're able to visit, I wish you that good selling. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.